Have you ever looked at a loved one, maybe a parent, a grandparent, or even a dear friend, and noticed something different you couldn't quite put your finger on? Maybe it was the way they moved a little slower, or how their smile didn't quite reach their eyes anymore. Sometimes, the changes are so small, so subtle, that they slip right past us until one day we realize how much time has flown. It's a heavy feeling, isn't it? Knowing that the people we love most might be closer to the final chapters of their lives than we ever allowed ourselves to believe. But here's the thing, noticing these subtle signs early can make all the difference. It gives us a chance to act, to help them find comfort, to make memories, to ensure that their golden years are filled with dignity, peace, and love. It's not about fear, it's about preparation, about giving our loved ones the care they deserve. Today we're going to talk about 5 important signs that someone might be entering their final year, gentle warnings that we often overlook, because life gets busy, or because we don't want to face them. And most importantly, we'll talk about what you can do right now to make this time as rich and meaningful as possible. I want you to stay with me to the very end, because this is not a conversation about loss. It's a conversation about love, about living with purpose, about making sure that not a single moment goes wasted. And if this touches your heart, please don't hesitate to share your own story in the comments. You never know who you might inspire by doing so. Now let's ease into the first subtle sign you should never ignore: a noticeable decline in energy and vitality. You know your loved one better than anyone. You know how they move, how they laugh, how they fill a room. When that natural spark starts to dim, when activities they used to enjoy suddenly seem exhausting, when getting dressed or fixing a simple meal becomes a burden, it's often one of the first and gentlest signs that the body is starting to slow down. Not just from everyday aging, but from a deeper place, a place where energy reserves are no longer what they used to be. It's easy to brush it off as just another old age thing, but this kind of fatigue is different. It lingers. It shapes daily life. If you notice this, the best thing you can do isn't to push them to try harder, it's to adapt their environment to meet them where they are. Little changes can make a big difference. Maybe it's reorganizing the kitchen so everything they need is within easy reach. Maybe it's setting up a favorite chair near the window so they can soak up the sunlight without having to venture far. Sometimes, the simplest comforts become the most powerful gestures of love. But remember, energy levels can also be tied to hydration. Yes, something as basic as drinking enough water. As we get older, our sense of thirst diminishes, and dehydration can creep up quietly, causing fatigue, confusion, even rapid health decline. So make it easy for them. Keep a favorite water bottle by their side, offer gentle reminders with kindness, not nagging. Maybe even sit and share a glass of water together. Turn it into a small ritual of care and connection. Speaking of movement, let's talk about the second subtle sign: reduced mobility or a change in walking patterns. Pay attention to how your loved one moves. Are their steps shorter, slower? Do they shuffle instead of lifting their feet? Are they using furniture or walls for balance without even realizing it? These shifts are often quiet cries for help from the body, signs that muscles are weakening, that balance is becoming uncertain, and that the risk of falls is growing higher. It can be scary for them to admit this, even to themselves. Pride runs deep, especially for those who spent a lifetime taking care of others. That's why it's important to approach the conversation with sensitivity, not alarm. Encourage simple, safe activities to keep their body engaged. Gentle stretching, chair exercises, a slow walk around the garden, anything to keep blood flowing and muscles awake. You're not just preserving their mobility, you're preserving their independence, their dignity, their spirit. And don't forget, making the home safer is an act of profound love. Remove tripping hazards like loose rugs, improve lighting in hallways, add supportive grab bars in the bathroom. Think of it this way: every small adjustment you make is another day you're helping them stay on their feet, moving through life with a little more freedom and confidence. Of course, not all signs are as visible as a slow walk or tired eyes. Some are hidden in the quiet corners of conversation, or in the silence between words, but we'll get to that soon enough. For now, I want you to hear this loud and clear. Noticing these signs early is not about giving up hope. It's about honoring every single day, filling it with laughter, comfort, and peace. It's about creating space for joy even when bodies grow tired. And when you act with that mindset, you turn what could feel like a heavy topic into a beautiful, empowering journey, one that strengthens the bond between you and your loved one more deeply than you ever thought possible. Before we move forward, I want you to take a moment, right here, right now, and think of someone you love. Picture their face, hear their laugh, remember the little things that make them who they are. Hold that feeling close, because that's the heart of this conversation. That's what matters. Now that we've touched on the physical signs, energy and movement, there's another layer we need to explore, a deeper, quieter one. Because while the body gives us clues, the mind and heart speak in whispers too. And if we listen closely, we can catch those whispers before they turn into cries. Coming up next, we'll dive into how subtle changes in memory, mood, and engagement can tell us even more about what's going on beneath the surface. Because a healthy body is important, but a healthy mind is just as vital, maybe even more so, when it comes to aging with grace and dignity. Stay with me. The next part is something every family, every friend, every loving heart needs to hear. Have you ever found yourself walking into a room, only to stand there, wondering why you even went in? Or maybe you've picked up the phone to call someone, only to forget who it was you were about to dial. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something very important. You're not alone. Moments like these happen to all of us as we get older. And while they can feel a little frustrating, or even scary, they're often just gentle reminders from our minds, asking us for a little extra attention and care. You see, keeping our bodies healthy is only half the battle. A sharp, vibrant mind is the other half, and it's just as essential for living a joyful and independent life. Our mind is like a garden. If we don't tend to it, nourish it, and actively care for it, weeds of forgetfulness and confusion can quietly start to grow. But with the right habits, you can keep that garden blooming beautifully, no matter your age. One of the simplest but most powerful things you can do is to stay mentally active. Think about it like this: just as your muscles need regular exercise to stay strong, your brain craves its own kind of workout. And the best part, this kind of exercise can actually be a lot of fun. Try setting aside a little time each day for mental challenges, things like puzzles, crosswords, or even learning a new skill. Maybe you've always wanted to pick up painting, or you've been curious about digital photography. Now is the perfect time to dive into those interests. Every new thing you learn builds new connections in your brain, keeping it agile, youthful, and alive. Another powerful way to protect your mind is through reading. It doesn't matter if it's a novel, a biography, or even poetry. Reading stimulates your imagination, expands your vocabulary, and exercises your memory all at once. And you don't have to pressure yourself to read for hours a day. Even 10 to 20 minutes can make a difference over time. Choose books that genuinely interest you, that pull you into another world or spark your curiosity. Make it a small daily ritual, perhaps with a cup of tea in a sunny corner of your home. Little routines like this, though they seem simple, can have a profound effect on your mental clarity over time. But it's not just mental stimulation that keeps your mind sharp, it's also about staying socially connected. And this might just be one of the most overlooked keys to mental health. You see, conversation itself is one of the best brain exercises out there. When we talk, we listen, process information, formulate responses, and engage emotionally, all of which light up different parts of the brain. Maintaining friendships, chatting with family members, or even meeting new people at community events can breathe life into your days and your thoughts. And don't underestimate the power of technology here. I know sometimes all these gadgets can feel overwhelming, but learning to use a smartphone or joining a Zoom call with grandkids doesn't just keep you connected, it actually strengthens brain pathways. Every new app you learn, every new website you explore is another little victory for your mind's resilience. That said, it's just as important to recognize the moments when your mind needs rest. Stress, anxiety, and mental fatigue can cloud our thinking and make everything feel harder. That's why nurturing mental health also means finding peace. Meditation isn't just for young people sitting cross-legged on a beach somewhere. It can be a gentle daily practice for anyone. Just 5 minutes of closing your eyes, focusing on your breathing, and letting go of your worries can refresh your mind in ways you wouldn't believe until you try it. You don't have to be perfect at it, just a few peaceful moments each day can have a remarkable impact. Of course, we also have to talk about sleep. As tempting as it is to stay up late watching old TV shows or reading just one more chapter, your brain needs good, consistent rest to function at its best. Sleep is when your mind cleans out toxins, strengthens memories, and repairs itself. Aim for 7 to 8 hours each night and try to keep a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends. You'll wake up sharper, more energized, and far better equipped to enjoy each new day. Now, I know it's easy to hear all this advice and think, that sounds good, but maybe it's too late for me. Please hear me clearly, it is never too late to strengthen your mind. The brain remains plastic, meaning it can form new connections throughout our entire lives. Every new thing you learn, every relationship you nurture, every calming moment you give yourself contributes to a stronger, healthier mind. And remember, you're not doing this just for yourself. When you take care of your mental health, you're also gifting your loved ones with more time, more memories, more laughter shared around a dinner table. Your presence, your wisdom, your stories, they matter. And keeping your mind sharp ensures you can keep sharing those gifts for many years to come. So as you move through your days, think of your mind as a precious friend. Keep it challenged, keep it nourished, and treat it with the kindness and patience it deserves. Even the smallest actions, reading a few pages, calling an old friend, learning a new trick on the computer, are steps toward a sharper, brighter, more joyful future. And speaking of joy, we've talked about the mind, but what about the heart? Because even with a strong body and a sharp mind, if the heart feels heavy, life can lose some of its sparkle. That's why next we're going to talk about emotional health, how to nurture your spirit, find peace within yourself, and continue to grow happiness even through life's inevitable challenges. I promise you, the next part might just be the most beautiful yet. Stay with me because you deserve to live every single day with a full, radiant heart. Life has a way of leaving its marks on us. Some are joyful laughter lines from years of smiling, memories tucked safely away like treasures. Others are harder, quiet scars from losses, regrets, or days when the world just felt too heavy to carry. And as we grow older, it's easy to focus on the physical signs of aging, the gray hair, the aches, the changing reflection in the mirror. But there's something much more important happening beneath the surface, the journey of the heart. Emotional health isn't just a nice to have. It's the invisible foundation that holds everything else together. Without emotional well-being, even the strongest body and sharpest mind can feel burdened and tired. But when your heart feels light, grateful, and at peace, even the toughest days become easier to bear. And the beautiful truth is emotional strength can grow even as we age. In fact, for many, it becomes their greatest superpower. So, how do we nurture our emotional health as we move through the later seasons of life? It starts with self-compassion. You've lived decades of experiences, challenges, triumphs, mistakes, victories. It's easy to look back and feel regret, to wonder if you should have chosen differently. But every path you walked made you who you are today, and that person you deserves forgiveness, understanding, and deep compassion. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend. You wouldn't criticize them harshly for every misstep. You would remind them of how far they've come, how resilient they are, how worthy they still are of love and happiness. You deserve that same gentleness from yourself. Another powerful key to emotional health is gratitude. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus your heart on what remains beautiful and meaningful, even on the hardest days. Try this simple practice. Every evening before you go to bed, think of 3 things that brought you even a tiny bit of joy that day. A bird singing outside your window, a kind word from a neighbor, a warm cup of tea on a chilly morning. Small things perhaps, but these small moments are the threads that weave a joyful life. And then there's connection, the soul's true nourishment. Loneliness can be one of the greatest challenges as we get older, but it doesn't have to be your story. Reach out, even when it feels easier to withdraw. Call an old friend, write a letter, join a local club or community group that shares your interests. Volunteer for a cause that lights a spark in you. Life has a way of leaving its marks on us. Some are joyful laughter lines from years of smiling, memories tucked safely away like treasures. Others are harder, quiet scars from losses, regrets, or days when the world just felt too heavy to carry. And as we grow older, it's easy to focus on the physical signs of aging, the gray hair, the aches, the changing reflection in the mirror. But there's something much more important happening beneath the surface, the journey of the heart. Emotional health isn't just a nice to have. It's the invisible foundation that holds everything else together. Without emotional well-being, even the strongest body and sharpest mind can feel burdened and tired. But when your heart feels light, grateful, and at peace, even the toughest days become easier to bear. And the beautiful truth is emotional strength can grow even as we age. In fact, for many, it becomes their greatest superpower. So, how do we nurture our emotional health as we move through the later seasons of life? It starts with self-compassion. You've lived decades of experiences, challenges, triumphs, mistakes, victories. It's easy to look back and feel regret, to wonder if you should have chosen differently. But every path you walked made you who you are today, and that person you deserves forgiveness, understanding, and deep compassion. Imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend. You wouldn't criticize them harshly for every misstep. You would remind them of how far they've come, how resilient they are, how worthy they still are of love and happiness. You deserve that same gentleness from yourself. Another powerful key to emotional health is gratitude. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus your heart on what remains beautiful and meaningful, even on the hardest days. Try this simple practice. Every evening before you go to bed, think of 3 things that brought you even a tiny bit of joy that day. A bird singing outside your window, a kind word from a neighbor, a warm cup of tea on a chilly morning. Small things perhaps, but these small moments are the threads that weave a joyful life. And then there's connection, the soul's true nourishment. Loneliness can be one of the greatest challenges as we get older, but it doesn't have to be your story. Reach out, even when it feels easier to withdraw. Call an old friend, write a letter, join a local club or community group that shares your interests. Volunteer for a cause that lights a spark in you. Passions, your gifts, your values, and the impact you want to leave behind. Think about this for a moment. What sparks joy in your heart? What makes you feel alive? What have you always wanted to do, but thought maybe one day, or it's too late? Now is that day. Purpose often starts small, like a whisper in your heart. It's the quiet thought you have when you're alone with your thoughts. Something that calls to you, even if it seems insignificant or distant. Maybe it's a hobby you've put aside for years, like painting or gardening. Maybe it's a skill you've always wanted to master, or a story you've always wanted to tell. Perhaps it's a cause you've always cared about, but never had the time to fully invest in. The key here is to listen to the inner voice that's been calling you. Purpose rarely announces itself with a loud voice. Instead, it speaks gently, persistently, through your passions, your values, and the quiet longings of your heart. It's easy to dismiss it. Life is busy, and age can make you feel like you've missed your chance. But the truth is, it's never too late to begin again. In fact, some of the most fulfilling and impactful purpose-driven lives start later in life. Consider the story of Grandma Moses, who didn't start painting until she was in her 70s, or Colonel Sanders, who founded KFC at the age of 65. These individuals didn't let age define their potential. Instead, they embraced their passions and used the wisdom of their years to fuel a second act, one that touched millions of lives. But purpose doesn't always have to be a monumental endeavor. Sometimes your purpose can be as simple as sharing your story with others, teaching a skill you've mastered, or being a consistent source of love and kindness in your community. One of the most powerful ways to uncover your purpose is through service. Helping others has a way of connecting us to something larger than ourselves. It lifts our spirits, reinforces our value, and reminds us that we are never truly alone. You might find purpose in volunteering for a cause you care about, mentoring someone younger, or simply being a listening ear to those who need it. Purpose is found in moments of genuine connection, where the act of giving becomes a source of profound fulfillment. Purpose is also about learning, the continual pursuit of growth and knowledge. Age is no barrier to new beginnings. Learning is a lifelong process, and in this digital age there are endless opportunities to educate yourself, whether through online courses, reading, or connecting with others who share your interests. The moment you start learning something new, You open the door to a whole new world. Your mind sharpens, your curiosity grows, and you discover a sense of accomplishment that fuels your sense of purpose. But perhaps the most powerful way to find purpose is through sharing your wisdom. You've lived through experiences that others haven't. Your life holds invaluable lessons, lessons that can transform someone else's journey. Whether it's through storytelling, writing, or mentoring, your experiences hold a treasure trove of wisdom that can change lives. And when you share those insights, you not only help others grow, but you also deepen your own sense of purpose. There's nothing more fulfilling than knowing your life's experiences have the power to make a real difference in the lives of others. Here's the truth. Purpose doesn't diminish with age, it deepens. As you grow older, your understanding of what truly matters sharpens. You become more attuned to what brings fulfillment, peace, and joy. The beautiful thing about this phase of life is that you don't have to chase after the same distractions or achievements that once defined you. Instead, you get to craft your own purpose based on what feels most aligned with who you are right now. So what's the next step? It's about taking action. The world needs your gifts, whether it's your talents, your wisdom, your love, or your time. Take one small step today. It could be as simple as starting a new hobby, reaching out to a neighbor, or committing to a cause you've always cared about. Remember, purpose isn't a destination, it's the road you travel every day. And the moment you begin that journey, you'll find a new light in your life, a renewed energy, and a deep sense of fulfillment that will carry you through the years ahead. Because when you live with purpose, every day becomes an opportunity to shine. And that is the gift of later life, not just the chance to live, but to live with meaning. In the next part of our journey, we'll explore how to channel your purpose into legacy, the lasting impact you leave behind. The best is yet to come. When we think of legacy, we often picture grand monuments, famous names etched in history, or a vast fortune passed down through generations. But true legacy is about something far deeper. It's about the imprint you leave on the world, the people around you, and the lives you touch. The beauty of a legacy is that it doesn't require fame or fortune. It's not about the accolades or the recognition. A legacy is something that grows from the seeds you plant, sometimes quietly, sometimes boldly, through your actions, your choices, and your impact on others. You might be wondering, what kind of legacy can I leave? I'm not a famous person, but the truth is, every single life leaves a legacy. The question is, what will yours look like? What will your contribution be to the world and the people who come after you? Legacy is built in the small moments and the seemingly insignificant actions. It's in the love you give, the wisdom you share, and the way you live each day with integrity and purpose. It's the story you tell with your life, and how those around you continue to tell it long after you're gone. Legacy doesn't always have to be monumental. Sometimes, the most profound legacies are created in the quiet moments. Think about the kindness you show to a neighbor, the lessons you pass down to your children, or the quiet influence you have on your community. These moments may seem small at first, but their ripple effects can stretch out farther than you ever imagined. In fact, legacy often lives in the hearts of those you impact. It's the person you mentored who goes on to mentor others. It's the love you gave that became a model for others to follow. It's the knowledge you shared that now lives on in someone else's life. Imagine the generations you can touch simply by showing up with authenticity and love. Your actions can spark a chain of change that continues far beyond your lifetime. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is, what do I want to be remembered for? It's not about the material things you leave behind, but the values and the relationships you cultivate. Do you want to be remembered for your generosity, your wisdom, your humor, or the way you treated others with kindness? Will people remember the love you shared, or the way you lived your life with integrity, honor, and purpose? To begin building your legacy, ask yourself this: what are my core values? How do I live those values every day? Who do I want to impact, and how can I do it in a meaningful way? Legacy begins with living a life that aligns with your values. It's about being the change you want to see in the world. It's not about perfection, but consistency in living your truth. As you enter the later years of life, one of the most profound ways to build a legacy is through mentorship. Mentorship is a powerful tool for shaping the future. as it passes down wisdom, knowledge, and experiences to those who are still on their journey. The lessons you've learned, the wisdom you've accumulated, and the stories of your life all become a treasure chest for someone else to tap into. In mentoring others, whether through formal programs, one-on-one conversations, or even informal guidance, you leave an imprint that transcends time. The impact you have on someone's life can create a ripple effect that touches future generations. Whether it's through your children, your grandchildren, or the young people in your community, mentoring provides the opportunity to pass the torch of wisdom and purpose to those who will carry it forward. A key aspect of building a legacy is creating something that outlasts you, something that continues to impact others long after you're gone. This could be a book, a charity, a business, or a project that reflects your values and passions. For some, legacy comes in the form of creating something physical, a home, a work of art, or an organization that serves a greater purpose. For others, it might be spiritual, the way they live their faith, their principles, and their commitment to truth and compassion. For still others, it could be the creation of a community or movement, a group of like-minded individuals who carry on the work you started. The most important thing is to create with intention, to be deliberate in your choices and mindful of the impact you want to have on the world. Because your legacy isn't just about what you leave behind, it's about how you make people feel, the memories you create, and the lessons you impart. Perhaps the most important legacy you can leave is a legacy of love. Love is the glue that binds generations together. It's the thread that runs through every moment, every connection, and every memory. Whether it's the love for your family, your friends, or the world around you, love is a powerful force. It transcends time, space, and even physical presence. When you live a life of love, you are sowing seeds that will bloom for generations to come. Love doesn't have to be grand gestures or dramatic acts. It's found in the little things, the smile you offer a stranger, the warmth you bring to a room, and the compassion you show during difficult times. These small, everyday moments of love add up, creating a lasting legacy of care and connection. Building your legacy doesn't wait for the future. It starts today. Every moment you live with purpose, every person you impact with kindness, every lesson you teach, and every action you take to align with your values is a step toward building your legacy. As you look toward the future, remember that your legacy will be a reflection of the life you live now. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to leave your mark. It's about creating your legacy with every choice you make in the present. So, what is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? The answer to that question will guide you on a path of fulfillment, purpose, and love. And when you look back at the end of your days, you'll know that you've created something beautiful, something that will endure through the generations. As we enter the later stages of life, the prospect of aging can sometimes bring a sense of uncertainty. There are often feelings of loss, whether it's the loss of physical abilities, the changing roles in relationships, or the realization that time is limited. But the final chapter of life doesn't have to be one of decline or sorrow. In fact, it can be the most rewarding, peaceful, and purposeful chapter of all. The key to embracing this chapter with grace lies in how we perceive it. Aging is not a curse, nor is it an end. It is a transformation. It's the opportunity to refine, reflect, and shift toward a deeper sense of fulfillment. It's a time to step into your most authentic self, leaving behind the things that no longer serve you, and embracing the wisdom, peace, and joy that can come with growing older. This chapter is not about looking back with regret. It's about looking forward with anticipation for what is yet to come. One of the greatest obstacles in aging gracefully is the fear that accompanies it. The fear of loss, of not being enough, of running out of time. But fear is often a product of perception. When we reframe aging as an opportunity rather than a limitation, we can approach this phase of life with a sense of freedom. Freedom to be who we truly are. Freedom to pursue new passions. Freedom to spend our time as we choose, without the pressures or obligations that may have defined our younger years. Aging doesn't mean that our contributions are over. It simply means we've reached a place where we can contribute differently. With more wisdom, more experience, and a greater understanding of who we are, we can live out the final chapter of our lives with a sense of purpose and impact that may surpass anything we did before. As we grow older, One of the most essential elements in embracing our final chapter is purpose. Purpose is the driving force behind everything we do. It's what gives us direction, meaning, and fulfillment. And it's never too late to find it. In fact, some of the most fulfilling and impactful chapters of life begin after retirement or when physical abilities change. You might have the time and space to explore new creative outlets, to dedicate yourself to causes that matter, or to share your knowledge and wisdom with others. Perhaps your purpose in this chapter is to be a mentor, sharing the lessons you've learned over a lifetime. Maybe it's to connect more deeply with family and friends, providing love, support, and wisdom as the matriarch or patriarch of your family. For others, purpose might come in the form of personal growth, learning new skills, exploring new interests, or diving deeper into spirituality. Whatever form it takes, purpose doesn't expire with age. It simply shifts and evolves, and with it comes a deep sense of fulfillment that enhances your ability to live fully. One of the most profound aspects of aging gracefully is the ability to let go of the past, of expectations, and of attachments to the things that no longer serve us. In youth, we often strive to accumulate wealth, status, accomplishments, but in the later years, there is a shift towards simplicity, acceptance, and peace. Embracing this change can be incredibly freeing. Letting go of old grudges, regrets, and material possessions can create space for new experiences and deeper connections. When we embrace life as it is, rather than clinging to how we think it should be, we can navigate the aging process with a sense of grace and peace. This doesn't mean we give up our dreams or stop pursuing what matters to us. It means that we release the burden of trying to control everything and allow life to unfold in a way that feels natural and authentic. One of the greatest gifts in life is connection with family, friends, and community. In the later years of life, maintaining and deepening these connections is crucial for living a fulfilling and graceful life. The relationships we nurture in our golden years can bring us a sense of belonging, love, and purpose. Consider the power of shared experiences, of sitting around the dinner table with loved ones, of reminiscing and telling stories. These moments are the fabric of our legacies, and they bring a sense of warmth and fulfillment that can't be found in material success. It's also important to build connections within the community, whether through volunteering, joining clubs, or simply engaging with neighbors. These connections can provide a sense of vitality and purpose, reminding us that we are never truly alone. In our younger years, we often chase after the next big goal or milestone, but as we age, we come to realize that the most meaningful moments are often the simplest: a walk in nature, a quiet moment with a good book, a conversation with a friend. Living in the present without the distractions and pressures of the past or future is one of the most powerful ways to embrace aging gracefully. Focus on the joy in the small things. Feel the sun on your face. Savor a cup of tea. Watch a sunset. These moments of stillness can bring a sense of peace and contentment that nothing else can replicate. By learning to appreciate the present moment, we open ourselves up to a deeper sense of gratitude and fulfillment. And as we age, the ability to fully appreciate the beauty of life just as it is becomes a precious gift. Ultimately, the key to embracing your final chapter with grace is peace. Peace with yourself, peace with the life you've lived, and peace with the transitions you're going through. This peace comes from accepting that change is a natural part of life. We don't need to resist it, fight it, or fear it. Aging is simply another stage of growth, one that allows us to reflect on what we've achieved, enjoy the wisdom we've gained, and share our knowledge with those who come after us. By cultivating peace and acceptance, we allow ourselves to age not with regret or fear but with joy, gratitude, and grace.